Hello, listeners. You have me and Cynthia together today. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Mind Power Meets Mystic. The holidays are coming. It is almost the end of the year, and we thought it would be good to talk about something we don't usually talk about, and that is the idea of closure. Closure is very important, and Cynthia is going to tell us why.
Well, what I like to tell a lot of people is how you finish something is how you start the next thing. So when someone comes to me, talks about jobs, wanting to leave their job or a relationship, we go over everything that's still messy or the loose ends and let that person decide how they want to leave that space. Because if you leave messy, you're going to find that that mess happens to be at your next step. So you're right. It's the end of the year. It's a great time
And the
with,
start of the year.
and the start of the year. It's wonderfully cold outside for our California blood. And it's a good time to really get snuggled in and do some reflecting. So what you want to do with closure, it's not about being pretty, it's not about anything like that. It's just about being clean. And clean doesn't mean you have to be clean with the other person. If it's a relationship, it's about you being clean and clear on
Mhm.
your side,
That's a
right?
very good distinction.
Right. So if I want to finish up a relationship or change up a relationship and I say something that's very clear, but it makes the other person angry, that anger has nothing to do with me. That is their response to something that they have to clean up. And I'm the one that has left clear and clean. So that's an example. But we have a couple of other examples, and I'm going to toss that back over to you.
So when we started talking about closure, the first thing that came to my mind was my two big relationships that ended. And the two relationships ended in very different ways in terms of the closure aspect of them. So my husband Bruce had always figured he was going to die. He had a will, well, he didn't have any money because he figured he was going to die, but he did kind of have a plan. And he had gotten sick. He was in a rest home for a while, and then he went on hospice. And I thought, oh, he's going to be on hospice for weeks because this guy's a fighter. He was on hospice for 30 hours. So, yeah, yeah. So, when Bruce was ready to go, he was out of here. The closure that I experienced with Bruce's death was, I mean, don't get me wrong, even when you know somebody's going to die, it's really, really painful. But things had been kind of laid out. His family showed up, they were supportive, they helped with arrangements, they came for the memorial service. Like there was kind of a process, and I wouldn't say that I really felt complete, but there was a sense of closure and process. Now, 10 years later, I ended another relationship because my partner, Scott, died. And Scott had been sick, and Scott had some of his stuff figured out, but he died during the pandemic, and his family didn't really know what to make of me. And the bad juju all over the place. It was just miserable. Cynthia remembers that.
Oh
It was
yeah.
terrible. And a big part of it, I think, was just that, like, the process of closure was not there at all. It was not there at all. And so it really extended my grief. It extended a lot of hurt feelings. It extended a whole lot of stuff that probably didn't have to play out the way it did, but it speaks well to this idea of kind of plan for closure.
What I witnessed with you going through this is that your closure came in bits and pieces. So with every realization, you could close the door a little bit more and close the door a little bit more. So as painful as it was for you and as hard as it was for me to stand by and witness, it was amazing to watch you still be willing to step through the next piece and then the next piece and the next piece. And then seeing you with your whole face and your whole heart saying, I'm ready to date.
Yeah. Well, that day has come, and we were going to talk more about that in a minute, but we're going to turn to a big loss you had
Right,
last year, unanticipated.
right. Yeah, that was my brother. It was October of last year, so it was a little bit more than a year ago. We'd been estranged since my mom had passed, so that was about 10 years. And he said that he never wanted to see me again. The closure I had to deal with, not only with not knowing my brother, finding out that he passed, and understanding his friendships and where he was living and how he was living his lifestyle, it was closing the piece of hope that we were going to reconcile or at least see each other one more time. So even when he passed, I didn't get to see him. And that's probably for the best, right? So I have these memories of how I saw him right before my mom passed. So my closure was, it took a year. I got to go through all the little crazy things of I could have been a better sister, or I was really mad at him for not seeing me and my good intentions, which is all a bunch of bullshit, right? It doesn't really matter what he was thinking because there was no way I was going to change his mind. And I have no idea how our relationship affected him. I do know how it affected me. I was really sad. And I only had one brother, I only had one sibling. So I also went through this orphan stage, right?
Yeah, lost both your parents and your brother.
hmm
Yep.
So it was a whole lot of closure. And what happened was um, coming to a realization that how we ended was perfect, right? It was perfect. It didn't meet my expectations, but it was perfect. I got to see how much his friends loved him. I got to see how he chose his lifestyle. I got to see how he reconciled certain things, and it was really, really beautiful. And again, it made me understand that my expectations were exactly that, my expectations. There was absolutely no reality in any of that. So it was lovely to be done at Halloween of this year, actually Dia de los Muertos, and to say goodbye to that person, which is me, not my brother, because I'd already said goodbye to my brother, but to say goodbye to me that had that expectations
Mm-hmm.
and the hope. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Big moves, big steps.
hmm
So then Cynthia remembered that there are stories that are coming up because of Michelle's dating adventures. Michelle's dating adventures continue, although there's an exciting new lead in the bullpen, so that's the good news. Um, I had been seeing somebody over the last year and kind of felt like, hey, this is going pretty well, and I'd like to make more of it. I'd like to step things up a little bit here, and I told him that, asked him for what I wanted, and he did not want the same thing.
Right.
He wanted a different uh setup between the two of us, and that's not really what I wanted. And so it was a little bit hard and it pulled the heartstrings, and I felt really, really awful for about a week. And then I was like, you know what? Like, he's not a bad guy. I'm a wonderful gal, but we don't want the same thing. And there's really not a lot of point when you're my age. If you don't want the same thing, uh, forget it, you know?
Right.
And so a few weeks, that week of hurting passed, and then a few more weeks passed, and I was like, well, if he wants me, I will hear about it. And I didn't. And so a month later, I was like, we're done. And that was that. There wasn't much to be resolved. And as a result, I wound up going to Mexico with my kiddo as opposed to this gentleman. And my kiddo and I had a great time. So one relationship closes. For me, I mean, I guess there are people who kind of. I had a friend of mine's mother used to say that she always had one in the wings. There was
Right.
always a boyfriend in the wings. I have never been really that kind of person, but what I know about myself is that another good candidate doesn't typically show up until space is made for that candidate. So on to bigger and better. That was the closure of that one.
Right. And there were so many good aha moments along the way. That was so much fun. As the person watching, as I really always want to be Michelle's wing woman, but it just hasn't happened. So I just get to go, yay, all the way along. The thing that I really liked about how you handled that situation is that the closure happened within you, and then you were adult enough to formalize it so that there was none of this
Yeah, well, it was
dragging
interesting.
out,
Yeah, it was
right?
interesting to me. I mean, because I forgot the part. I didn't mention the part and kind of forgot the part about like, oh, you don't want me? Well, I'm going back on the apps because somebody wants me. And sure enough, I found another person to see for a while, and
Yeah,
he wasn't the right guy either. But it was real nice to be liked by another when I wasn't liked by the one who I was asking for.
right.
And he wasn't the right guy. That's fine. But um, yeah, I think it is kind of that being clean
Yeah.
thing in terms of like, and I know years ago there was a fellow I dated between my husband Bruce and my partner Scott, and when I realized that that relationship was not a what I'm calling now the go the distance relationship, um I realized it was not going to be a go the distance relationship. And I was like, hey, we need to split up. This is what it's going to be. And he was a little bit, but I thought we were going to be together. I thought this was great. And I was like, no. Um, once he was out, that's when Scott appeared. Like
Right.
for me, there's not really one in the wings. There's typically, the door is open or the door is not open. So I'm still working on the bullpen prospect, but
But the
I'll
thing,
get there.
but the thing that again, what happened is that by being super clean and make it a formality, when I talk to Michelle and the prospects, she's very, very clear about who is worthy of your time and energy, and that's pretty incredible.
I am I'm fortunate, but I think some of it is smart too.
Hmm.
Um, I had this girlfriend once, she had a terrible boyfriend, and I was like, honey, the problem is not that you date losers. The problem is that you date losers a really long time. Like everybody dates losers. That's okay. But I've been pretty lucky. Like
Yeah.
for the most part, I'm very discerning about sort of who I step out with. And generally have second, third, multiple dates with someone.
Hmm.
Um, so, but still considering good prospects as of this recording.
So take a look at this lovely lady, and if you happen to know a nice
2026 could be a big year.
So I have the opposite of what Michelle is going through her adventures. My adventure is with my ex-husband. And we've been separated for at least 15 years and change. And lately, well, let me back up. I wanted to make sure that we remained family and good family, not, someone that you just tolerate. Because I'm really clear that I want to be a grandma. So when I'm blessed with that grandchild, that I'm going to be able to have great conversation with Frank, my ex-husband, and say, this is what's going on with our grandkids. I'm super excited. When are you going to see them? When am I going to see them? So it's not weird. And, our twin daughters are at an age where, they are looking at long-term partners. And I've been to enough weddings where the parents take all the joy out of a freaking wedding. It's so not about you. Yeah, yeah, people are putting money in and all that stuff, but it's not about you. So quit making the drama. And on the outside, it's a lot of fun to watch.
Drama.
The
Drama can be
drama.
fun to watch.
Oh man, it is. But to be closely to it and definitely don't want to be a part of it. So that's a long way of saying Frank and I are family. We love each other. We just know that our lifestyles just didn't match. And in one of our phone conversations, his voice changed, his energy was different. I went, this is it. He has someone in his life that has shifted him in a really, really good way. And he was finally ready to tell me about it. And there was an opportunity to go and meet her, and I jumped on that opportunity. For me, it was really important so that we could close the circle of our relationship and cement the fact that we are family and that I want the best for him as and wish him well in the way and his way, as well as let his girlfriend, do you still call a girlfriend in our age? Girlfriend, lady friend,
Partner,
partner,
partner, maybe.
yeah, significant other, that she, all I had to do is go, look, this is his past. You have nothing to worry about. You go have so much fun. And I was really fortunate that it was Thanksgiving at his house, that she was just as willing to meet me as I was to meet her, that one of my daughters was there so that the focus didn't have to be on the relationship. And it was a really lovely experience. I'm so excited for them. And she happens to be a good cook, so I got to benefit from her amazing cooking, and she's just a lovely person. So what we did is we had a talk with Frank and said, don't fuck this up. She's a nice lady.
Yeah, you didn't have the best term for Frank's previous dating adventures.
Oh no, God. To say that they were misadventures is
Mm.
like to say it lightly, and to call them dramas. The there was more comedy in there than the drama. I mean, it was just, yeah, it was like a K drama. You know what I mean? There was just like,
Oh, that sounds
yeah,
exciting. Sounds like a TV
it was
special.
something. It was a TV special. It really was. Until you get tired of it, because you know that that's the thing about K dramas. You know that there's an end date. It's not like soap operas that go on forever. You know.
Closure.
Exactly. Exactly.
That too. The end. Closure. So I guess
Exactly.
we should finish this episode as we began it.
Exactly.
We're hoping you wrap your year of 2025 with some great ideas in terms of what will help you feel the process, the clarity, the communication, all that kind of stuff to wrap up whatever it is you need to wrap up, and look forward to opening some great new things next year.
Yes. And one last thing, you don't have to wait till the 31st of December to do this shit. And you don't have to wait until the 1st to start this shit. So just as long as you're clean, and then you get to start fresh and dewy.
And that wraps up another episode of Mind Power Meets Mystic. Please give us a like, a rating, a review, a follow, send us to a friend, and have some very happy, happy holidays and a wonderful upcoming new year. Bye bye.